Good afternoon, everybody. Bobby Benally here inside the KCBD newsroom at the KCB Digital's desk, coming to you on the rundown, coming up on 2:50 right now here in the newsroom alongside Brandon Solis, KCBD Digital content producer, as well as KCBD Digital sports reporter Andrew Wood. We want to go over the basically the Texas Tech Pro Day recap. Now has been one of the anticipated events for Tech Athletics coming up today. Happened this morning. I mean, how many? About probably 18, almost 20 players participating in today's Pro Day. I mean, 32 head NFL teams were represented, all 32 teams here in the hub city at the practice facility for Texas Tech. First off, just Andrew, what did you see today? Just the environment and just everything that was going on inside the Sports Performance Center.
Well, from the Texas Tech point of view, it was nice to see all these people that we covered throughout the season, and about 3 or 4 months ago, it was nice to kind of see them back at Tech again at the Performance Center, doing what they did so well last year. And then from the NFL point of view, is of course, as a fan, it's nice to see all these coaches there. You saw Aaron Glenn from the Jets, you saw Brian Schottenheimer from the Cowboys, Zach Taylor from the Bengals, and then of course Patrick Mahomes. So the biggest NFL story happened just right down the street from us, so that was incredible to see. And then players who had been hurt, like Skylar Gill-Howard, it was nice to see that he's like 4 or 5 months removed from surgery, and finally seeing that he's able to put himself out there and to show that he's ready to go.
And just go over the defensive side of the ball, Brandon. I mean, that's where pretty much all eyes were today. I mean, we had a handful of players just getting in the drills, whether it was the 40-yard dash to the measurements to the vertical jump. Just talk about that, what you saw out there.
No, absolutely. And like Andrew said, 4 NFL head coaches are in attendance. You got all their scouts, a lot of assistants, and that is what the Red Raiders harped on all year, and that's what made them successful this year into going to that college football playoff in the Orange Bowl, despite the loss. The offense really couldn't get it done, but that first half against Miami was all defense, and that's what they came to see. So we're talking your guys, David Bailey, Skylar Gill-Howard, like Andrew said. I mean, what a guy to come back from surgery and injury like that. And on this clip right here, that's an interesting fact. That's Mike Smith, former Red Raider linebacker and coach, now New England Patriots outside linebacker coach, running with David Bailey right there. And just really getting to see, like Andrew said, the familiar faces that everything kind of runs through Lubbock. But these defenders were the highlight of the game, of the year, or of the camp, and of the year. But it was interesting to me, Andrew and Bobby, that Jacob Rodriguez, I don't think he performed in any drill. I think he just kind of took his draft stock at the combine and kind of ran with it. He did get his height and weight measured, and all that good stuff. I believe he might have participated in the bench press. I'm not too sure. I need to double check that, but we didn't really see him out there. He was out there in attendance walking around, but nonetheless, guys like Skylar Gill-Howard, Charles Esters, those guys really set the tone, and I think they really made it known that defense now runs through Lubbock instead of that usual air raid offense, even though we get to see Bear more than those receivers. But today was all about those defenders and all about David Bailey, who Aaron Glenn from the Jets was there. That's that number 2 pick. That's really what we're looking at. And then you got to know where Romello Height and Lee Hunter and those guys kind of fall behind and see. But as I'd say fall behind, those are first rounders as well. So all eyes were on David Bailey. I think every team would take him if they had the opportunity to. But right now it looks like Aaron Glenn and the New York Jets right there really got a first-hand look at maybe their next guy on that defensive end position in New York.
And you were right there. Both of you gentlemen were just with just David Bailey, and you see the Dallas Cowboys head coach Brian Schottenheimer was right there as well, just watching this, and just you can just I believe I think it was Brandon that was telling me you can just see his eyes just light up whenever he was doing these drills in front of him.
Oh, absolutely! Everybody's eyes were lighting up, man. I mean, this is the best defensive line in the country. They should have, I was interested to see if they would go up against a team like Indiana. We saw them go up against a tough team like Miami, but they did all they could in those games. And now you get to see them individually. You get to see them kind of out of their zone. And now they're individuals. They're still Red Raiders, but now they're trying to go make a name for themselves. See if they fit into that NFL days. Because there's a good motto, and one of my good friends, Don Williams, said it today. somebody can have a good pro day and not turn into a good pro, and somebody can not really have a good pro day but turn into a great pro on Sundays.
And one
So
of the
it's just
and one of the surprises, I believe, is we had some posts. I mean, if you follow our KCB Facebook page, had wall-to-wall content of just the drills that were going on, as well as the 40-yard dash. And I believe Bryce Ramirez with 31 reps on the bench press is what we were told, and then as well as his 40-yard dash. Andrew, can you just talk about just the journey that he's been on, just from starting here at Tech and the injury and then the setbacks and everything? Now, look at him just trying to earn a spot on an NFL roster. Just talk about that.
Yeah, first and foremost, I mean, Bryce, he was probably like on his second or third year when he had that injury against NC State back in 2022, and then him being back on the field, and then last year, like, even for all the times he wasn't on the field, like he was kind of one of the team leaders. He was a well-respected veteran, and of course, we frequently hear the standard is the standard, and I don't know if he's the guy that started it, but he's definitely taken that phrase and ran. And anytime you hear it, it's like, yeah, it's what Bryce says, and he'll back it up 100%. So seeing him go to that, and then even today when we're leaving, we're just like, who do you think the standouts were? And then it was just the consensus was almost Bryce Ramirez, and yeah, all the way through, from the vertical to jump and the 40-yard dash, like, yeah, he definitely went above what the expectation was.
And
so especially having that injury so many years ago, going from that to this, it's quite a story.
And I mean, I believe, Brandon, you had some video of him just doing his broad jump. Do you happen to know the measurements on that? Did they call that out or anything like that?
Yes, I believe it was about a 10.8, because I remember the guy right behind him was 10.7, but he had set the mark. He definitely jumped the farthest, and his 40 times, his first run was a 4.72, unofficial, but his second run was quite impressive at 4.64. And I mean, like Andrew said, this is a guy that's battling that injury at NC State from the sideline, and then dealing with an infection as well after that. I mean, this is a whole journey for this guy. And to see NFL teams kind of be able to see what he can do, at least on the field drill-wise, I mean, I can see Bryce going to some team, even though maybe not drafted. If not, he's going to find himself with an opportunity on at least a practice squad, if not on somebody's roster. Maybe he can be a good special teams guy for you. Anything kind of like that, a good depth piece for sure. But I think he made a name for himself today. As long as we're talking defense, but I wanted to bring up Brady Boyd. That was the other guy that stood out to a lot of people. The guy ran a 4.38 40 on his second attempt, and his first attempt was a 4.4, which had everybody hollering, and everybody was clapping for Brady Boyd. And he was making some great catches too on the sidelines during Barron's throwing drills and stuff. So Brady Boyd and Bryce Ramirez, I say, were the top two takeaways from today. Really stood out and probably caught the eyes of a few scouts out there.
Yeah, and after he clocked that 4.38, I texted Brandon and Shelby, like, we have Usain Bolt on our hands. And I'm sure everybody kind of went to their phone like, who's this guy? And he played last year at Utah State, but Coach McGuire brought him back, and apparently with good reason.
Oh, okay. Well, we got some sound from Bryce Ramirez right here that Andrew sent to me, so let's go ahead and take that real quick and see what he had to say.
My journey's been crazy. From trying out for the football team at Texas Tech to working at Pizza Hut while I'm playing football at Texas Tech to finally getting put on scholarship and just playing on special teams, being happy to run down on kickoff, getting a starting job, breaking my leg. Like, it's been insane. It's really not real. If you would have told me when I was coming into college after I made the team this is going to be the journey, I wouldn't believe you. My journey's been crazy.
And that was Bryce Ramirez just talking about his journey for this moment that he has been able to do. We also, Brandon mentioned just Jacob Rodriguez. Now that's just a name that around here is just popular to begin with. Just talk about, he's already had went to the NFL Combine, had his pro day there, and he didn't really participate in anything today, but just talk about what you saw out there just from him. Was he out there just helping out players? Was he talking them up, just cheering them on? What was he doing?
Yeah, I mean, he was in full gear. He was around everybody. An interesting fact, and I was gonna bring up one after I finished talking about Jacob. Another guy I saw, he was very interactive with all the coaches. He had a dinner last night with the Dallas Cowboys. Personnel wise, for the Cowboys, not sure who was in attendance for that dinner with Jacob, but he did have a dinner with them. He said it went very well, and teams are just there to get to know him. I think the proof is in the tape. I mean, you're talking to, without a doubt, I mean, in my opinion, the best college football player last year, definitely the best defender, and definitely the best linebacker available. And there's a lot of NFL teams that can use some linebackers out there. So I think him interacting, kind of making himself known still, and then still, being around the team. I mean, everybody was there. We had other guys on the team. Andrew noted it too. Whenever we have these pro days, I've been to a few, here and there. Cameron Dickey, there's guys on the team that are still participating. So Cameron Dickey was catching passes for Barrett Morton out of the backfield. Terrence Carter was as well. They had a lot of familiar faces around them. It was very much a team effort, and Jacob fit right in. But I think with Jacob specifically, he's already kind of proven himself with the takeaways last year, with the tackles, with what he did at the NFL Combine. And all these teams are obviously still interested in him. So I think today just helped him get to know those coaches a little bit more, and also get to see literally all 32 teams. The last time I was at a Texas Tech Pro Day, it was Pat Mahomes, and there was 30 teams there, not 32. The only two missing were Tom Brady and the Patriots, because they just came off that Super Bowl, and then the Dallas Cowboys, because Dak just won Rookie of the Year. So those are the two teams missing. Other than that, this was the biggest pro day in Texas Tech history, in my opinion. All because of defenders, and Jacob's one of those guys that are going to go really high. And Bobby, before we move on, I wanted to make note too. Cole Wisniewski at safety. This caught my attention. I was on the sidelines. Coach Schottenheimer for the Cowboys was talking to Coach McGuire, and one of the scouts for the Cowboys was talking to Cole Wisniewski in the middle of the field. We're standing on the sidelines, and Coach Schottenheimer noticed that, and he left his conversation with Coach McGuire and abruptly and said, "Hey, hold on, I'll be right back to you." And he jogged over and went to talk to Cole Wisniewski, shook his hand. Cowboys need help at safety, and that might be a guy to watch out late for the Cowboys. And then I think Andrew saw a few other guys talk to some other teams, but that one really stood out to me, the way that Coach Schottenheimer went up to Cole Wisniewski. So those are the guys that also participated that could do some work. I think Skylar Gill Howard's a guy that could do that. That came off injury, but he has potential, and I think these teams finally got to see that.
And actually, Andrew, talk about that, Skylar Gill Howard, just about just his, being injured middle of the season, having to bounce back from an injury, and then now competing into this in this pro day, and just trying to get his name out there as well.
Yeah, of course. Last season, of course, Jacob Rodriguez, as the season built, became a bigger and bigger name, and then the Heisman campaign started. But if y'all recall, the first month, there's just as much of a buzz for Skylar Gill Howard up until that injury versus the Kansas game. Of course, he had that scoop and score with Kent State that had everybody talking, and I don't want to make it about like what could have been, but it was not seeing like him back. He'll even say, like, he even told us, like, being removed from surgery. I want to say, I don't know if he was directly back in October form, but it was pretty close. And even during some of the sprints, like, I know we clocked in a couple times, like, that he would have liked to have been faster, but he's aware of that. And this definitely, like, it was nice to see that, the injury didn't end his time here. It might maybe on the field, but he kept going. And it was just, and as a team leader, he never stopped being a vocal leader even after he was unable to play, and you could see some of that carrying on as well.
And we got some sound here from Skylar Gill Howard, so we'll go ahead and play that right now.
It feels amazing. Obviously, I went down halfway throughout the season, so to come out here and actually be able to run on that practice field again, I haven't done it in a while. It was just an amazing feeling, especially being with my guys, David, Lee, Melo, and the rest of them. It was an awesome feeling. It was surreal, but we competed today, and I'm proud of all of us.
And let's go ahead and go to the other side of the ball. We had a few, I believe, a couple wideouts, correct, out there catching passes.
Reggie,
of course, Baron Morton going as well. Just talk about what you guys saw from him out there today.
Well, I think from Baron, I think it's a story. Of course, he does not. he more than anybody probably hates the way he went. His last game at Tech went, and he wants. I think he's trying to make it a point like that's not me. And now he did have the East West Shrine game after, so yeah, he's definitely that was not his last game, and so I think maybe that kind of I think whatever happened at the end of last year gives him a chip on his shoulder that he wouldn't have had, and you can definitely tell he's been training up for this next level, and he's definitely taken it very seriously.
Yeah, and I agree with Andrew. I think Barons has something to prove. Kind of watching scouts while watching him throw, I think a lot of them had some interest. They kind of know his story, at least a little bit to know. Battling injury, it's been tough for him. He's a coach's son though, which I think helps him out a lot. He's been there, he's done it, he's won at every level, he really has, and you really got to see just somebody really takes a chance on him. He's going to go, land on somebody's roster, maybe not. Is he going to be an active squad guy, like I said about Bryce Ramirez? Probably. I think somebody's going to take a chance on Barron and it's really give him an opportunity to prove himself at the next level. We can see here on some of these tapes. He had some really good throws today. He had some really good catches, too, from his wide receivers. Caleb Douglas right there. Caleb Douglas really shined. I know we're talking about offense. He had some really good catches. Brady Boyd did as well. Reggie Virgil. They all looked really good. John Carlos Miller, he looked really, really good today. And he had, obviously, his support system out there. So it's been really nice to see all these guys kind of develop. And, Barron, you're not looking at, a day one, day two kind of guy. Maybe a day three kind of guy. That a team that needs a backup, maybe, somebody to give you some insurance that I could see giving him a chance. Caleb Douglas, though, I really did like that.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Oh, and I mean, Barron, he's been spending the last few weeks training up in Kansas City, and they even asked, Mahomes being there in attendance, did he even say hi to him? And yeah, they had a conversation. So definitely the last few weeks have been good for Barron, and yeah, he's definitely sizing up, and even in the drills, we saw these 60, 70-yard bombs that, of course, we hadn't seen in a while. We hadn't been there a whole lot in a while, but yeah, it was nice to see just him pick himself up like that.
And right now, Bleacher Report has Barron Morton projected as a 6th or 7th round. Some of his pro comp is Ian Book as well. I believe Ian Book now plays Saints, I believe, or am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
So, with Kellen Moore out there as well. So, a lot of comparable grades, especially according to Bleacher Report, Brock Purdy. You get some names that have played in the league. So, as Brandon mentioned, this guy is proven battle-tested, battle-tough, and just wait to see what happens later on next month when the draft comes up.
Yeah, and in the post-game, in the media availability afterwards, he mentioned that the All-Star game, the East-West Shrine game, how that was a benefit because he learned a pro-style offense just being there, that it's not just air raid, that it was able to kind of get acclimated that way.
And that'll do it for just what we saw today. Just one final takeaway, just what you saw today, Brandon and Andrew, on and what you can expect. What are you hoping for when it comes to next April when the draft comes up?
Yeah, I think David Bailey solidified himself as the top 3 pick. Was it good enough for Aaron Glenn in attendance to see that in person, to take him at number 2? I personally think so. I think Jacob Rodriguez is also well. I think he solidified himself as the top linebacker, obviously. But some bias. I hope he lands at 20 to the Dallas Cowboys. But without that, I think he's going to land on a solid team. I think for the first time, we're going to see multiple Red Raiders in the first round. I'll make that prediction right now. All defenders. I think you're going to see a lot of kind of flipping the point here. I think you're going to see a lot of Red Raider offensive guys go a little later in the rounds. Those day 3 kind of guys, like you mentioned, Barron Morton is round 6, 7s, and Reggie Virgil, Brady Boyd might have snuck himself a deal too. That's what this day is all about. It's about teams getting to see these guys in their environment. They're used to practicing in those fields. they have their support systems behind them. And I think that really shows a lot to these guys and makes them a little more comfortable. They can kind of be themselves and still be trained and coached by NFL guys, NFL coaches and stuff. So, but super excited to see where these guys land. It's been fun covering them. It'll be interesting to see where kind of how the chips fall for all these guys.
Andrew?
With Jacob Rodriguez. Now this is just the NFL part of me, not the tech part. But I did hear it was a scout with another team. I won't say who, but as a fan, it does give me a lot of hope. Like we don't know where he'll go, but I hope he goes. But it gives me a reason to be excited. But of course, during the post game, he said I think every team is trying to get his attention one way or the other. Every team is networking with him. And I know, like I said, everybody tried to look up Brady Boyd that was there because we weren't expecting. We probably didn't know he was, much less him putting up a 4.38. So that was what I always enjoy from these things, kind of seeing who emerges as the new up and comer that we didn't know about before. So the NFL draft, of course, is spring, and Dante Balfour in the vertical. I think that was one thing. That was right off the top, but I think, we kind of set the standard high there. That's kind of what I was able to take away. I'd never done pro day before this year, so it was it was a lot of experience. And if I do several more of these, I'll kind of know more and more like how it's set up. I feel good about Tech being represented next month with the NFL draft.
And that will do it here from the KCBD newsroom for the rundown today. We'll definitely have a full-on wrap-up of this online at kcbd.com of today's Pro Day. Make sure to tune in tonight for the sports side for 6, 9, and 10, where we'll hear sound from players that participated in this Pro Day today. We'll definitely have that. But that'll do it here from the desk. For Andrew Wood, Brandon Solis, I'm Bobby Benally. Take some time to really enjoy your life today, guys. This is the Rundown.